Greetings, one and all. Exalted is a mature game,
Oh,
and as such should be treated with the knowledge that none of the things you see here are generally the opinions or actual beliefs of any of the players portraying the characters. Viewer discretion is, as always, advised. And yes, you may have just heard that there's a slight change in name. So, who wants to give me the recap from last time? I feel the person who's at the center of these events this entire time. So, let's start with the recap from Elizabeth. Oh no, wait, sorry. Oops. Alyssa?
So, on our last session of Vampire Chester by Night, as it was once called, we started off with the group still in the presence of the Prince of Doncaster in his humble abode, whilst they tried to get themselves ready to deal with the infernal Arlo. Alyssa and Kai both decided to call upon their patrons, so to speak, for help, but they didn't hear anything. Alyssa also tried to summon Excalibur to her, and that didn't work. The group learned where exactly they were within Doncaster, as they'd been brought there blindfolded, essentially, so didn't know whereabouts they were. Once they found out where they were, they headed down onto the street to go and deal with the situation at hand. Elizabeth tried to prepare herself by activating her fire weapons on camera. Again, she never learns. And Alex, who was a La Sombra tasked with keeping an eye on the group, threw his shadow out to snuff out the weapons because he wasn't an idiot and didn't want a masquerade breach. Alex also happened to feed Alyssa some of his blood to heal her injuries because she was still a bit beaten up from the fight in the church. And as the group were walking towards the location they believed Arlo to be at, they noticed a person dressed in a coat with long hair and a short beard watching them. And that turned out to be a kindred by the name of Beckett, who Alyssa, Elizabeth, and Kai had all met before. Well, not met, they had seen him at the Elysium that was held in Chester by Prince Donald of Manchester. And he was basically saying that he had been given permission to be in Doncaster and carry out his research with a friend, and the friend didn't speak or say anything at all. The party then asked if Beckett would aid them in dealing with the situation, so Beckett came along, and as they went to the location, Alyssa prepared herself by just automatically taking her clothes off, because she knew she'd lose those clothes the minute she transformed into a leonine form. And everyone else basically also got themselves ready, Elizabeth firing up her weapons and Kai loading his gun. And they went and had a look around and eventually came across Arlo. Lots of fighting happened. Elizabeth got dropped pretty quickly in the fight. Beckett and Alex managed to keep Arlo pinned to the ground for a second, long enough for Kai to put a nail through his head. And long and short of it, Alyssa and Arlo bit each other, and when Arlo died, he turned to dust, and Alyssa fell into consciousness and went back to her human form. And as this happened, shit kicked off outside. And the ground started tearing itself open, and the skies ripped apart. And the party raced for higher ground, as essentially the end of the world started to happen around them. Alyssa was locked in her mind, and inside her mind she started talking to Lion, and yeah, it wasn't Lion, it was Arlo. Arlo is now in there, and he's killed Lion. She started screaming at him, and everyone on the outside could hear her screaming, like, for real, trying to wake herself up, and she couldn't because she was too broken from the fight. So Alex thought he'd be clever and try to feed blood that induces a euphoria of some kind, but what it actually induced was a rage. And so Alyssa woke up in frothy rage, pure rage, and attacked Kai because it was the first person that she could see. Kai then defended himself and basically became an avatar of the unconquered sun. And whilst Alyssa's attention was set on Kai, Elizabeth did some damage to Alyssa from behind. And Alyssa just turned around and annihilated Elizabeth, just slicing her in half. And that was apparently enough to snap Alyssa back into her normal self. And yeah, she lost it again, flung herself into Kai's arms and just cried as the world around them started to break. And that was where we left off on season 2.
On the third day, there will be silence. The crows will feed on the carrion. Plague will dance among the ruins. The last of the wild ones will leave this place, and the last of the moon beasts will fight and fall. And the antediluvians will make for themselves an empire of blood. They will rule with iron talons. They will wrench the hearts of all still alive, and the full sum of the earth's living will come and live in the last city called Gehenna. And there'll be a reign of 1,000 years. There'll be no love or pity or life. The mighty will be as slaves, the virtuous will be made foul. Every good gift and every perfect gift will be tainted by the Father of Darkness, whose power will come from the nether realms. When the snows consume the earth and the sun gutters like a candle in the wind, then, and only then, ... It has been 5 years since that final fight. People didn't realize it was the end of the world until it was pretty much dead upon them. The initial tectonic activity throughout the majority of the UK was in some cases blamed on things such as man-made interference, in some cases blamed on just how the planet reacts. What they didn't realize at the time, however, and became very clear soon afterwards, was it was the rising of the Gangrel Antediluvian herself. Within the south of England, a part of the land was actually ripped away, separating what was London down from the northern parts of the island, as a literal rend was formed. The creature that came out, some say, were described just as a woman. Naked, afraid, running into the darkness. But the devastation she left behind crippled pretty much the entire country. With such a planetary issue occurring, the snows started to fall. The majority of the atmosphere took on a heavy feeling. The sun started to gutter and be almost blocked out entirely, and left everything covered in this weird white choking mist. Upon these realizations, Kindred Society, realizing that sunlight was not really a problem anymore, despite the fact that they still must rest on certain hours, started to get bolder, started to find their ways out into the night a little more refreshed and ready. And there they were met by those who wished to oppose them. Some of the moon beasts, the werewolves, the Gural, the Roanoka, creatures that had long since tried to defend the world, rallied against them. Unfortunately, the majority of the kindred that came out at this time were from a certain sect, known only as the having succeeded in their wars across the other continents. They had returned in force and fed beautifully. Certain antediluvians having been diablerized in whole. They met the forces of Gaia quite aptly on the field, and it didn't take long to beat them into both submission and destruction. Other antediluvians started to rise in various corners of the earth. Powerful beings that made standard kindred powers look. Most notable among them all was probably that of Zemisi, who in his long-held, it's not even a torporous state, discombobulated state beneath New York, finally seeped out to reveal himself as a plague. And the entire Isle of Manhattan, in the space of a day, dropped dead. The bodies being reconstituted into something else, something unholy. At least that's what some of the reports say. Humankind nowadays lives on the run in an apocalyptic scenario that basically consists of traveling place to place in little vehicle-based pods, almost like whales. The majority of which you will find across the majority of across the Americas, in some cases across most of connected Europe. The seas themselves still teem with life, almost untouched by the ravages of above, but darker and much more menacing. Not many people go out onto the waters for reasons that have yet to be truly founded. Alyssa, in this entire time, as all this was happening, you and Malachi originally managed to find your way to America. The main reason being the UK was screwed. Whereabouts would you have ended up?
Good question. Somewhere with not a lot of people.
Nevada?
You're aiming for a desert?
I was thinking more like Alaska or somewhere wild, somewhere.
So, either a hot desert or a cold one.
Yeah.
What should we go for? I don't know, I hear LA's nice this time of year.
No. Let's not go to LA.
Maybe Chicago?
No.
Detroit.
Detroit, really?
No.
In the
No,
apocalypse,
we would never go
Detroit
to
had
Detroit.
millions upon millions of pounds of improvements.
Maybe New England for poeticness.
No. I reckon we.
Head for Maine. That's a great
Maine.
idea.
Actually, Maine sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Yes, Lovecraft Country. Head that way.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
Where all those Stephen King novels are based. Let's go find the children of the corn.
Maybe somewhere like Dunwich near Arkham. I hear that's quite nice.
What about Minnesota?
Wisconsin.
Okay, well they're next to each other, so
Hmm.
and I'm kind of feeling top towards the border of Canada, if I'm going to be honest.
Towards Canada.
Yeah.
Okay. Bear with me 2 seconds. So, I think the most likely spot that Alyssa would have had to, in having mentioned Alaska at least, the Tongass National Forest, the largest forest in the United States.
Sounds about right.
It is basically rolling grasslands, large amounts of trees, some mountains. And there is where you have sequestered yourself. How many years ago did you ditch Malachi?
4.
But true love.
Why did you ditch Malachi?
For his own safety.
And in all that time, Malachi has, I imagine, kept looking.
Yep.
True love.
I understand. So, there are portions of some of the more northern parts of the world that barely see the sun, that basically have a nighttime that spans weeks. That's kind of what this entire world is now. There are moments where there is just enough sunlight coming through to still give plant life life. And in places where it isn't, some people have started trying to set up sort of solar bulbs and stuff to keep what little life there is going, because the second that they lose certain parts of it, it's game over for everybody. But in the case of this particular forest, it's almost supernatural in the way that it continues to grow. It's dark almost constantly here. Almost an eternal night or twilight. Alyssa, could you please describe to me the cabin that you have had made for yourself?
Really simple, really small, nothing too extravagant. It literally is just a 1-room cabin. It's got a little hearth in there for warmth and cooking. There is essentially a little wash bowl for cleaning up. One chair and a small round table and a really simple cot. Everything inside's decorated with things that you would find out in the wilderness. So things like fur pelts and stuff like that. Outside of it's a little porch again with like a little bench just for keeping an eye on things. There's a little sort of like farming patch essentially where there's a small amount of produce growing. Everything is essentially self-sufficient, so all the water that comes in, all the heat and food and all the necessities.
And when was the last time you saw any of these groups of humans or supernatural creatures? Anything that's not yourself? When was the last time?
Probably 3 years ago.
Okay. So, safe to say you are out of touch with the world.
Pretty much. It's a little cabin right in the middle of nowhere where people wouldn't necessarily go because it's off like the beaten path essentially. To get to it takes some level of of skill, and if you don't know it's there, you wouldn't necessarily go looking for it. So
I understand. Malachi,
Yep.
you have spent 4 years ceaselessly wandering around trying to find Alyssa.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you were ditched, so to
Yeah.
speak, it happened in the night. You'd basically managed to find somewhere to call camp, and then the next day, she just wasn't there.
Mm.
It was in Southern America. You were actually closer to than you were Alaska when that happened.
Closer to where, sorry?
Texas.
Texas. Yep. Fantastic.
You have kept more of a knowledge and interest in supernatural and mortal affairs. And there are some things that you know that Alyssa does not.
Yep.
2 years ago, no, let's start further back. A few months after Alyssa left, you started to hear rumours that somewhere in Sarajevo,
Mm-hmm.
a throne had been set.
Yeah.
And it is there where Cain himself apparently holds court.
Yeah.
They call it the Throne of the Scorpion.
Mm-hmm.
And multiple creatures have tried to assail it. Many have tried to bargain with it. Some have tried to supplicate themselves before it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing gets there and lives. Specifically, of note was the fact you have heard one of the antediluvians tried to revisit their sire.
Mm.
You do not know which one it was, but apparently, upon first sight of it, as the rumours go, Cain was incensed and tore it into pieces, scattering its blood for miles around. And wherever its blood fell, a cade of bones, thorns, sharp things, that's the only thing you've ever managed to get out of people, surrounded the throne,
Mm-hmm.
cutting it off from anyone else who felt themselves particularly overly brave. 2 years ago, when you heard of the first exaltation that wasn't yours,
Yep.
or yours and Alyssa's. As far as you're aware, there is a small group of dragon-blooded that have started to exist. Look like they're existing some portion of Russia,
Yep.
and as far as you're aware, they are growing and multiplying over the last few years. Seems that power's begetting power and creating more and more of them for some reason. What little you can pull from your spirit's memory indicates that perhaps the elemental dragons themselves have started to stir with this whole issue. You've heard of no additional solars, at least not yet. There are some rumour of abyssals lurking around the Throne of the Scorpion.
Yep.
Seems like they're drawn towards darkness. Sidriels, you've heard nothing, and the rest of them are conspicuously absent as well. But then again, you wouldn't expect things like a Luna to stick its head up. In fact, any slight rumours of Lunas that you come across, you take to be potentially Alyssa and start heading in that direction.
Yep.
It's been 5 years, and you are now currently upon a small log town. Basically, everything here seems to be log cabins. There's about 7 of them, and they are filled with humans who seem to be particularly, shall we say, bereft of hope, bereft of any kind of drive.
Yeah.
There are also 2 kindred who are openly displaying themselves. One of them needs to describe himself.
Oh, hello. So, one of the kindreds seems to be nothing in particularly special, just a slight person in what once might have been a half-decent black suit with white shirt and black tie, but the years haven't been that kind to it. They still try to take some pride in their appearance, but wear and tear and just... Obviously, it's probably not the most easy to find a good tailor in this day and age. Quite outwardly friendly, but keeps to himself a little bit. Nothing special at all, really. You'd probably actually, if you didn't know they were kindred, you probably wouldn't really take much notice of them.
Yeah, fair.
The other, if that's the end of your description, sir.
Yep.
The other one would be just easy to show you a picture. So
Which is
please I hunt it down.
this would be a Torrido now, so completely opposite to that description.
When I can find it. Come on, where are you? No. So many pictures in this. I need to better mark these. You know what? That will do. Fuck it. The other one, literally set up in her own little sort of side cabin. Large table in front of her, lots of candles. Looks an awful lot like that.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
She's better than me in every level.
Her clothing looks a lot rougher than it does in that picture. But there's a certain element of almost style that's been kept deliberately.
I still love her.
The Kine and the Kindred are working together. That is the one thing. Not so much odd to you anymore, but flashing back to all those years ago, it would make no sense.
Yeah.
For reference, Joseph, the majority of the time that you have been here,
Yes.
I will let you come up with your own histories for whatever those 5 years have brought to you and whatever you were before that. But the majority of the time you've been here, you have been trading hunting skills between you and this one
Okay.
for hunting skills. Basically, people offer you blood for food.
How would she react to my desire to create a new Constantinople?
What? How would your compatriot here?
Yes.
She's mostly just blased off most of your suggestions.
Typically
Not
she just
ruled
kind
them
of...
out, just blased them off.
She knows what clan I am, just smiles and nods, basically.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But you also do know for a fact that she is named Tessa, and she is a gangrel.
Ah. Gangrels are always nice to have on your side.
Malachi, as you enter into this town,
Yep.
if it can even be called that, there's a few people now warily looking at you, sort of left and right, side glances. What do you currently look like? What is your current description given your post-apocalyptic nature?
What? So imagine, if you will, an old Western movie where a stranger blows into town.
Oh god! Shoot him first! Shoot him first!
It's kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah, so almost exactly what he was wearing when we left off, which is a hat, a long black trench coat, but it's tattered and it's covered in dust from walking around for so long. And you can sort of see a glint of something at his belt, but he quickly pulls the coat over it as he approaches, and looks around to see who looks like they might be important in this place.
Well, upon seeing Malachi enter town, Tessa stands up, pulls a small knife out of her side into the center of town. She gives nods you over. And
Here, I don't want any trouble. I'm not here for
effectively, you
trouble.
end up with the noon scene,
Sorry, I missed that
looking
last
up and
bit.
down.
It went.
You look very. It looks very much like the high noon scene. There's sort of that one thoroughfare through. One stood directly opposite you, dagger in hand. Did you follow up, Joseph?
I will come up and be like the good cop of this situation. I'll be obviously quite open
I
and
understand.
affiliable.
So you both line up against Malachi. There's a moment. I believe you're trying to say something, Malachi. Sorry.
I've just come this way looking for somewhere to rest my head and maybe some information.
Oh, we all need places to rest our head and rest from the journey which probably goes on and on at the moment.
Yeah, I've been walking a long time.
Oh, I don't mean walking. I mean the journey of our souls and our spirits and finding our new home in this new world.
Tessa just gives you a sort of a side glance and a very light sigh, despite the fact she doesn't need to breathe.
Our souls, you say?
Well, some people call them souls, some people call them chi, some people call them essences, some people call them the blood. A lot of people have different words for it. I've read many different definitions, but I'm not quite sure which is the right one.
Well, after a while, souls don't seem to mean much anymore.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
This is cute and all, but if you're looking for a space to put your head, stranger, we got one of the spare cabins around here. But if you're going to be here for any length, you're going to pull your weight.
Oh, yeah, I am. Don't you worry about that.
Oh, good. That's friendly and nice of you. Awfully decent.
Tess just kind of looks at you a second, Joseph, and sort of turns around, walking past you, behind you, and just kind of like punches you a little in the arm before heading back off to her table. You do see, glancing over Malachi, that knife looks like it has definitely silver,
Yeah.
and on the inside of the hut that she's going to, there are a selection of animal pelts, some wolf, which you can't tell 100% whether or not that silver knife's made for a different reasoning, but it does look like it's a butcher's shop, effectively, and she's carving out flanks worth of meat.
She likes me, really. You just have to get past her clan exterior. But she's lovely, really. She's very helpful and very nice. Remarkable singing voice as well. I might have imagined that, I don't know. So what's your name, then?
Me.
That's a
They call me
strange name.
Kai.
Oh, I was going to say, that's a strange name, me. But Kai's a nice name. My name's Joseph.
Nice to meet you, Joseph.
Oh, thank you. Do you mean that?
Yeah. It's always nice to meet someone out here.
Oh, thank you. You said you were looking for someone. Maybe I can help you. I'm kind of good at finding things that are lost, but I don't always know the best directions of getting there. Sometimes I get lost myself.
No, I just remember some things they said, and that's all.
So, who is it? Is he a friend, family?
Both and more than that.
Is it love? Oh, I've not seen love for so long.
Malachi's just looking down at the floor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Uh, um, um, would you like a drink?
Yeah, what do you got?
Um, well, I don't really drink, so I don't know what there is to drink here that isn't blood, but I'm sure someone could help you.
Oh, it's been a while since I've had any of that.
Oh, you drink blood? You don't look like one of us.
Not anymore.
You sound like you have a story. I do like stories.
Oh, I got plenty of stories.
Oh, maybe you can tell me your story, and I can tell you your other story that's yet to happen yet.
What?
Well, you can tell me your story of the past, and maybe I can tell you your future by you telling me your past. Sometimes it works like that. Sometimes I have to make it happen. Sometimes it doesn't happen at all. Depends on the person.
So, you ever heard of a place called England?
Yes. Do you think I sound American?
No, fair enough.
Hmm.
Most people out here have very little knowledge.
I might look it, but I'm not as young as I look. I've been around. Well, I've been around for years, but I lost track of years. But no, I came from there originally, and I've walked about trying to find information about Constantinople. Have you heard of Constantinople?
Yes, I've heard of Constantinople.
Do you know about the Trinity then?
The Trinity,
Yes. The
the Holy
most-
Trinity.
Well, I technically wouldn't say it's more political liberalism than holy, but I suppose if you look at it that way, it could be holy.
Right. So, what sort of Trinity are you talking?
Oh well, the Trinity of the three, Michael, Draken, and Antonius.
Okay. No, I don't think I'm not quite that old.
Maybe this is very rude of you. I'm just talking to you about political beliefs in the middle of the, well, I'd say village, but I'm going to call it more of a collection of houses. Please let me come get you a drink.
Thank you. Have you got any whiskey?
Well, that just dehydrates you then rather than rehydrates you, and you probably don't want to drink that.
Oh, it doesn't matter at this point.
Oh, it always matters how you find the one you love.
Oh, I'll get there.
I think you will, stranger. I think you will. I almost see your aura about you. You have a good one. It smells like it's been around the world a little bit, but yes, I think you'll do what you want to do.
Yeah. Well, all we can do
There
is
is
keep
some
hope.
whiskey if you want to pass that on. There is usually the way most people stay refreshed here is just to melt the snow and heat it up to the point in time where it's clearly not infected. But yeah, there is a bottle or two of whiskey, but it's usually kept as a rationable thing, and it's to keep people warm more than anything else.
Do you have anything you could trade for the whiskey? Because the mortals kind of like it when it's cold.
Well, how much ammo do you need?
I don't know how to fire a gun, so I don't really need ammo. Oh, you mean maybe ammo's good. I'm sure someone could do with the ammo.
Hmm.
This is the longest conversation I've had in like almost forever. I like you, Kai.
Thanks. I like you too, kid.
Oh, do you mean that? Do you really mean that? I feel like we've had this conversation already. Have we had this conversation already, or did I think we've had this conversation already?
I really couldn't tell you at this point.
I can't tell myself either. Could be one of those days. Right, let's go get you a drink of whiskey, and you can give them ammo for it.
Thanks. I need it.
Excellent. Follow me.
I'll follow.
You take Malachi into what is basically been set up as a impromptu grain house. There is no way of farming around here, nothing that isn't a root vegetable at least. But what food there is, some of the salted meats and stuff that Tessa catches, they're all in and about here. There is a small supply of what looks like a crate worth of bottles or doesn't look like there's been much. There was more originally. There's less now. But other than that, there's nowhere really to sit down, and here it is just a storehouse. As for ammunition, there is some, but most of the people here kind of rely on their kindred protectors to handle things. Not really. While there are people who have fired guns and can fire guns, it is America after all. There is no professional marksman, as it were. No hunters.
Doesn't look like that's going to get you what you need then.
Sorry, what? I was thinking of something.
I was just noticing how it looks like you two are the hunters for the pack.
Oh, I'm not a hunter. Testers are the real hunting. I just help where I can and do what I can. I can help. I'm really good at finding things. More of a finder than a hunter. I don't like violence. I'm kind of against violence. It's not really what I like.
Good. Do you like finding things? I like looking for things.
Oh, we could go on adventures together. We could be like best friends. I've never had a best friend. Do you want to be my best friend?
Well, I don't see any other options.
If I don't want to cry because it'll make me hungry, so I'm just gonna hold it in.
Yeah, please don't cry, kid.
Oh, you call me kid. It's like one of those books I read where you're the cowboy and I'm the deputy, but deputies shoot guns and I don't shoot guns. So we just imagine that deputies are more bookish type that don't read and said, yes, let's do that.
Yeah, you can be the bookie deputy that
Yes,
helps me catch the perp.
I can do that. Speaking of catching, you want to find your friend. Tell me everything you know about her, or them, or he, or it, or if it's a pet. I know sometimes people get upset if they lose a dog, and I will try and find them for you.
Okay.
There is a sudden roaring sound that just echoes around the entire of the forest. You've got a user sound, Joseph. This is very much mouths that have been, causing some level of grief up in the flats. But at the first sound of you hearing it, Malachi,
Yep.
it doesn't sound like her, but it definitely does.
Remind me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so someone's cranky today. It seems. Always cranky.
What is that out there?
Oh, I don't know, but it's definitely cranky. You can tell by the the noise. Could be one of many things.
You know, I said I was looking for something.
Yeah.
I downed my shot of whiskey.
You won't find at the
Ready?
bottom of that glass.
Hmm?
You won't find at the bottom of that glass.
No, that's not where I'm going to find it. That's to keep me warm.
Oh.
And I turn around.
Are we
out the door.
are we going now? But I've not had a chance to put my book. Wait for me.
So you and Joseph both head out of the storeroom and into the freezing cold night? Air. You can see Tessa just looking over. Where are you heading in a hurry?
We're finding people's friends who might be the source of the roaring. So we're going to have a nice kind of end to the story where everyone's happy and it's going to be a really good happy ending, which is better than a sad ending. We've all had too many sad endings. It's time for a happy ending.
That's a really nice thought, kid.
Yes, happy
Let's hope.
ending. I like happy endings. Too many sad endings these days.
You head out of town and into the forest. Tessa just kind of looking for a moment, scratching her head a little, shrugging, and going back to making choice fillets. So,
She's an
on
artist.
pause for a moment. Alyssa, how do you feed yourself?
Either by hunting or by eating some of the stuff that I can scrap together with farming, like growing stuff. Not a huge amount, just like, because obviously not a lot grows, so
Okay.
bare amounts, but mostly
let's say-
hunting.
Carrots, potatoes, most root vegetables are quite easy to grow here.
Yeah.
They prefer the dark. But anything that's like grain, wheat, or otherwise is not really going to do any kind of use here.
Yeah.
When you hunt, do you transform to hunt?
Yep.
Lion form, or do you just relish the chance to tear something to pieces as a war form?
I would actually say that I have a wolf form, given that we are in America and I've had the chance to, for lack of a better word, to
Can't tell
simulate.
from my end, not, but you broke up massively there.
No, I think that's me stopping and starting. I'm saying it would probably actually be a wolf form at this point because there are wolves in these forests, so I know because some of their pelts are on my floor and on my clothes.
Okay. You have not come across in your hunt any kind of would-be werebeast.
No.
With the exception of one scraggly black spiral dancer you met in like your first year and promptly ripped into tiny shreds.
Yeah.
As you're setting up, because you're getting to the stage where you need to go and hunt, you say, gathering some small supplies. Are you going to transform here, or do you transform closer? Obviously, it's cold outside, so I imagine transforming here and
Yeah.
saving on your clothing is probably a good idea.
Correct.
Okay. So, you make the shift. One more time, just to confirm that was your war form, yes?
No, wolf.
Wolf form. So, you're actually going to transform into a wolf as opposed to a lion.
Yeah. Because a wolf makes
All
it,
right.
with the given landscape, it fits more, if that sounds correct.
Blends in.
Blends
Well,
in.
mountain lion does blend in just as well.
In that case, yeah, I'll go for a lion form then if there's mountain lions in the area.
It makes it easier as well for things like climbing.
Yeah.
If you want to get up into any trees or hide or actually perform any sort of things, you need the claws, whereas wolves tend to not be great at climbing trees.
No.
So, as you begin the shift, you start to transform, getting low to the ground. You still, even in this form, it's impossible to hide the tattoos.
Yeah.
There are still glowing blue wreaths of power across you. And as you do, you just hear this yawning in the back of your head. Oh, is it that time of day already?
Yep.
So, what are we killing today?
Whatever happens to be not a human.
You know, one of these days, you're gonna lessen up on that. You're a lion, which is you're literally designed as one of the premier man killers.
Well, given that the world has gone to shit, I think the humans have their own problems. Me killing a human.
Yes, and you're one of them. Accept that. Now we've done this dance for years. I know you're not gonna listen. Just go get some food.
Right. Okay.
You recognise the voice. You've heard it for years now. In the original, it didn't. It was not something you were particularly happy about in any way, shape, or form. But these days, it's just. It's commonplace. It's routine.
Yep.
He's there. He's not. He gave up on corruption years ago.
Mm.
He's now just sort of that voice in your.
He's that little bit of company.
So, you transform after opening the door because, again, opposable thumbs,
Yep.
and bolt out into the night. Forgive me, food arrived. I had to nom something down there.
Yay,
So-
food.
You bolt off into the quiet of the evening. I would like you, at this point in time, just as a general hunting roll, I want you to make me awareness and wits.
Awareness and wits. 2 successes.
You can almost highlighted around you get the sense of small game, a couple of deers, various different sort of flavors almost to your nostrils. Do you have a preference for what you're hunting today?
Deer. I really want some venison.
All right. So you start bounding off down into the forest to try and hunt yourself a deer. After what must have been 10 minutes, 15 minutes of travel, bearing in mind, obviously, your senses are really heightened at this point in time. And since, man's empire has decayed and vanished, scents travel a lot further now. There's not enough weird background sort of pollution to block it.
Yeah.
So it's at this point in time you pick up the scent of one kindred and a horrifyingly familiar scent.
The minute that I smell that horribly familiar scent, I turn tail and peg it the other way.
Malachi,
Yep.
you have been walking now for maybe 5 minutes or so, 10 minutes with Joseph at your back.
Yep.
I want you to make me a wits and awareness roll, or just a wits roll.
Okay.
Because Alyssa is not being stealthy about her escape, it's a low difficulty.
Nope. Panic ensued.
One success.
Two
successes.
successes.
2 successes. Sorry, one of those was 1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You turn to look over the direction of the sudden crashing sound of something coming to an abrupt halt, and then the sounds of scurrying. And you swear, even in the distance, considering your eyes are pretty damn good, there's a flash of white and supernatural blue.
Is Joseph looking at me at this point?
Yes, Joseph's probably halfway through explaining to you his theory on why the snow's so cold around here.
Okay, while he's ranting at me, I activate lightning speed.
Right.
And I'm just going to peg it towards where I can smell the scent. Well, no, not smell the scent. Sorry, where I just saw that streak of blue.
All right. Now, Alyssa isn't using any charms.
Nope.
She is just in a lion form. So, as Alyssa turns and sort of like scrapes 3 or 4 feet, you, in a blur of gold, which is the last thing you see of him for the moment, Joseph, though you do see the streak's direction,
My best friend.
you manage to see. You basically manage to land directly in front of Alyssa, Malachi, just looking down at this lion that comes to a screeching stop at your feet.
Suppose I should follow then.
You, lion.
Hold on to it.
Are you? Hey, easy. Easy.
You can see it is a white lion covered in blue tattoos. It doesn't even take 2 seconds to put together who this is.
I can't believe this. I've been looking for so long. Can you still understand me?
Alyssa, what do you do?
Welcome to Homer.
Oh god, no! Damn it, adverts! Stupid adverts.
So Alyssa roars and then gives out this advert for
Home Entertainment, your new gods.
Oof. So Alyssa just roars at me.
I imagine so. Looks like a cornered kitty cat.
Look, Alyssa, I've gone halfway across America trying to find you. Just
Joseph, do you follow up behind?
I'm running as fast as I can because I don't want to lose my best friend.
I've known you 5 minutes.
Exactly, you're my best friend now.
Oh my god.
So you come across this scene of Malachi staring down the white lion.
Oh,
Now you've seen this white lion once or twice. In fact, you're pretty sure it's been responsible for at least some of the game in the area going away. Either being driven away out of, fear because of a predator entering the hunting ground, or out of just basically being food. It is, you're pretty convinced, or at least test the apex predator of the area.
oh, Kai, you met Aslam.
Aslam?
Well, yes, the lives in the
Really?
wardrobe, fights a witch.
The thing from Narnia.
Do you know any of the? I could call it Simba if you
That's
wanted.
what you've been calling her.
Well, ah,
Look,
Today is the best day.
listen. I know what you are. I think I've figured it out from all the crazy babbling.
what? Me? Crazy? What? What? I'm just talking to you like friends.
Look, shush. Just look. Listen a minute.
And whilst
Okay.
they're bickering, I'm going to make a dash for it. Again.
Oh, she's gone.
Did I see the direction in which she went? Because I've still got lightning speed.
Yeah,
actually.
she's moving. She was moving with the speed of a cat. You are moving with the speed of a solar exalted. Cat is not fast enough.
Don't run away.
I don't even have any charms that can make me faster.
Yep. So I'm just chasing.
Do you
after
have
this
any
lion
charms that
through
make
the,
you faster?
I don't have any charms that make me faster, no.
Then that's gonna suck.
It really is. I would like to be faster, but there is no way of making me faster.
Are we going to run again?
Alyssa, stop running away from me, damn it!
You see this blur of speed as Malachi moves in front, but the cat didn't really get that far, so you can just keep up, Joseph.
So much running. I mean, can't we just talk like civilized two people and a cat?
I can talk to the cat. Doesn't seem like I can at the same time.
Oh, I don't think she wants to be, found.
Yeah, I got that impression.
Hmm. Can I pet her? I've never pet a lion before.
I wouldn't. Do you want to know a secret, Joseph?
I don't know if I can keep it. Sometimes I'm really bad with secrets because I talk too much and accidentally let them out. But I'll do my best.
That's who I've been looking for.
Oh, you're a cat. You love a cat. Well,
No.
I don't judge or anything, but I don't think she loves you
Joseph
back.
is not a cat.
Oh, okay.
If a lion could face palm.
Hello there. I'm Kai's best friend. It's nice to meet you. My name's Joseph.
This is Joseph. I met him 10 minutes ago.
I'm gonna turn and look at Kai, and there is just a raised eyebrow look on me. Just like,
she's-
really.
as she's looking at Kai, and we're just gonna quickly tap her and share the senses.
Okay. Rouse the blood.
Boop. I'm fine. I'm used to rationing blood at this day and age.
All right. You're sharing the senses, yeah?
Yes, I'm very much want to see what she's seen, so I can try and understand her thought processes.
Here comes the demon.
So, you place on the cat, and I would like the first things that go through Alyssa's feelings.
Fear.
Hmm.
Massive amounts of fear.
Oh my.
Slight undertone of happiness.
Oh, that's nice.
But again, just massive amounts of fear.
Oh, that's not so nice.
And a secondary force that is completely and utterly amused. In fact, Joseph, you hear in your head, Snoopy, Snoopy.
Oh, I'm not snooping. I'm just looking to try and help my best friend. But I understand. Maybe I shouldn't snoop. But I'm trying to help my friend. But 1 second, I'll come back to you. I need to speak to Kai. Kai, your friend is happy but terrified of you.
Get that far before this sudden spark of blackness just reverberates off of Alyssa and launches you into a tree.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. Alyssa,
You're perfectly conscious. It didn't hurt. It just launched you.
That was odd.
yeah, this is a little bit more complicated than I made out.
AJ, I'm not unless that breaks it. I'm not breaking the sharing.
It definitely broke it.
Okay, cool. I thought it would. I just thought I'd check.
Yeah, that wasn't her breaking it. That was something else breaking it.
I thought so. Well, maybe Kai, you can do something to make your friend not afraid of you, and let her happiness be the big emotion rather than the little emotion, and then the fear can go back to being a non-emotion because there's more fear than like and happiness right now.
Right.
Did you bring her flowers? I hear they like flowers.
They wouldn't have survived the trip.
What are you doing during all of this, Alyssa? Because you can definitely hear all of this.
I'm just sat. In fact, I'm not even sat. I'm just lay on the ground, just like face in the snow, or face in the ground. I don't know if it's snowy. It is snowy. Face in the snow, just like, why?
As you're doing that in your brain, there's this sort of a spiritual version of you that's doing similar, and sort of laid next to it, sort of head in hand, sort of kind of like leaning on you, just effectively looking at Joseph is Arlo, just kind of going, "What am I watching here?"
Is that you said there's Sorry.
I believe Kai's brought a Malkavian with him. Secondary question. Why is Kai here? with a Malkavian.
Arlo just sort of shrugs in your head. Don't ask me, I'm a disembodied presence.
Yes, you're my disembodied presence now, and
Exactly.
oh, you went so roboty there that I did not even hear a word of that.
Beep, bop, beep, boop, boop.
Excellent.
Kill all humans.
Yes. Was it? Arlo just looks at you and goes, well, yes, I'm your disembodied presence, so how would I know?
I don't know. I was just hoping you had some answers. I don't have answers for this. I just wanted to go hunting. I just wanted venison. Why?
Yes, sir. And I just look at the lion in front of me, and I get down on my knees and hold out a hand.
Oh, this is so romantic. Quick, take a picture. Oh, we don't
No.
have cameras anymore.
Not like that.
I raise my head.
Alyssa's
and-
head.
You didn't say anything.
I was going to say Alyssa's head's basically in the snow, one paw over one ear, one paw over the other, and then
Tell her-
raises.
Tell us some poetry. Poetry is really romantic.
I don't know. I don't have poetry for this moment.
1 second. I know what to do. AJ, you said there's some trees nearby, didn't you?
I did, but as he says he doesn't have poetry, you just see internalized Alyssa. Arlo just kind of like folds his arms and looks down at you, before looking up, going, "I was better as a Toreador."
But you know, you might be right. You had some really good craft skills as a Toreador. I don't know what the hell Kai can do, but apparently it's not poetry. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I mean, I could come up with some poetry right now. Watch.
I don't know.
Haikus are easy, but sometimes they don't make sense. Refrigerator. See? It's easy.
I take it back. You weren't useful as a Toreador either. And no, definitely not useful as you are now.
That's fair. That is entirely fair.
I'm snapping twigs off trees to make a little like kind of bouquet of twigs for my best friend Kay.
Okay, I'm going to accompany the next thing I say with a charisma and performance. If that's
That seems legit, as the Malkavian is stuffing a bouquet of twigs into your hand.
I'm assisting the roll.
I've been
Yes, you can have the extra dice.
Jesus Christ, what's happening?
Romance is happening. Bad romance. The
I've
song
been
there.
searching for 4 years. I've crossed the width and breadth of America, and not for 1 second did my heart stop yearning to find you. I'm here now.
Arlo leans into your ear and goes, "Here, width."
God damn it, Arlo.
What's that? When did the demon become Lex?
I'm here now, and the only thing that I want, the only thing I've wanted for the past 4 years, is to find you and have you back. Well,
Roll me charisma roll with that one extra dice.
okay.
I'm a +1 rather than a -1. Achievement.
So that's the first bit.
3 successes.
And then the second bit.
Oh, even more.
4 successes.
4 successes.
Alyssa, I will let you decide the difficulty based on all of what you deem to be a understanding to this. If you think 4 successes is not enough, that is fine. But you are currently staring down somebody who has clearly crossed the entire of the United States to come looking for you, and who has, I'm not going to lie here, possibly the most overly adorable Malkavian stuffing twigs into his hand to try and give him a bouquet.
I'm a cinnamon roll.
Is Kai's hand still out extended towards Alyssa?
Yep, holding the bouquet of twigs.
What, you're holding the bouquet of twigs?
Yeah.
I am going to bat the bouquet of twigs out of his hand so that his hand is free.
Oh.
And then very gently, I am going to take his hand in my mouth and start pulling him in the direction of my house. Because this would just be easier if I could talk, but I ain't gonna transform.
What you're doing. Ow, ow, why are you biting me?
Should I wait outside? I don't know what to do now.
I'll drop. I will
Almost
drop
the
Arlo's.
almost the exact same time that Joseph's saying that, all you hear inside your head from Arlo is, "Should I wait outside?" I mean,
Do you know what? If you could wait outside, Arlo, that would have been useful information to know 5 years ago, because then you wouldn't be here. But you know what? You can't wait outside because you're in my head.
I mean, I just told you that for 5 years. For all you know, I can walk out anytime I like.
I suppose.
Well,
I could make.
would be
never
great
mind.
if you could do it now.
You feel this sudden absence.
Yeah, well, there you go. It actually worked. Anyway, continuing. I'm going to continue dragging Kai by his hand in my mouth. Very slowly. Not really forcefully, just kind of, come on. Come this way.
Alyssa, if you're dragging me away to eat me, that's fine.
I'm gonna look back at him like, really? Really? You expect me to eat you? Are you serious?
I don't know.
When you say eat you, is this one of those innuendos I don't understand?
And I'm gonna shoot Joseph a look. Really? Really?
The lion's looking at me. I don't understand. Is that they probably don't understand innuendos?
The lion's going to eat you if you don't shut up.
I just growl
probably...
lightly.
Don't mind. I'm just gonna make some snow people and snow angels while you're doing that.
Okay, you just keep doing that. I'll be back in a minute.
Don't be too long though. I might freeze because we're not very good in the cold.
I mean, I'm pretty sure my house is, way away and therefore not a sort of go and be back in a minute sort of thing.
Well, we don't know that because you're a lion and you can't speak to us, damn it.
Do you know what? Sensible idea. I'm gonna drop Kai's hand, and with a nail, I am going to write in the snow.
I've never seen this before.
And I'm just gonna write follow, and then underneath home.
I would like you to make me a dexterity check at -2 dice.
Fuck you!
Falal?
Ha!
Lilo?
Screw you!
There is what seems to be sort of like with this really big paw, effectively, the words false.
What's
You get the idea.
Oh, does she mean me or does she? I don't know. Does both of us? Nod your head for both of us, Cat.
I guess both. Along, I'd feel bad if you froze out here.
Thank you. I don't want to freeze because that would be horrible.
Yes. So I start walking and following Alyssa.
So, what's it like being a cat? Do you have 9 lives? Do you chase tails and things like that?
I growl.
All you hear in the back of your head just echoed is "Ha! Chasing tail."
So you haven't left. You are still here. Fuck's sake.
I'm as far away as I can be. Damn it!
Oh, just come back. You know as well as I do.
No, because I don't know what you. This way I can't see it. I don't know what you two are planning.
You know as well as I do that nothing is going to happen because, let's be honest, I am a massive prude.
You're a massive emotional wreck that has just seen her other half in 5 years. I don't know shit about what's going to happen. I'm staying here.
Nothing is going to happen, Arlo, because honestly, it's just not.
I'm not taking that chance. I'll come out later.
Fine, you can come out when I tell them to leave.
So, are you like a werewolf cat or a were-kitty? Does that mean there's more than just werewolves? Maybe it's like were-sheep as well. I think I saw a movie about that many years ago.
I'm going to turn and I'm going to pounce on Joseph knocking him to the ground, and then I'm just going to put a paw over his mouth.
Thank you.
And then I get off him and continue walking.
Does this mean I'm accepting the pack now?
Something like that.
Oh, thank you. I've made 2 best friends in one day. That's amazing. This is like the best day since I was.
Good job,
this is like
kid.
the best day
Keep
ever.
walking.
Thank you.
So after a while of wandering, with so many weird things going on in between, you eventually find a cabin in the woods. At which point in time, the lion wanders in. There's the sound of some shifting, and the sound of someone getting dressed.
Kai, we can't go in.
What?
We can't go in.
Why?
We haven't brought a gift.
Okay, then go fetch me some more twigs, I guess.
We can't do the same gift. It would be uncouth.
It doesn't matter about the gift.
Kai, are you hearing voices?
Am I hearing voices?
Did you hear a female voice just say it doesn't matter about the gift?
I mean, if you're also going insane, Kai, then that's fine. That explains
There's-
why I'm going insane.
The voice knows your name, Kai. I think it's not just my head. You
I'm
hear that
literally
voice?
stood at the door watching the pair of you outside.
Oh, hello there.
You can
I'm
come
Joseph.
inside, it's gonna get cold.
Joseph? Alyssa?
Hello,
Alyssa?
Alyssa.
This is some random Malkavian that's been following me.
I figured as much.
How do you know what clan I am? Are you reading my mind? Please don't read my mind. It's not tidy yet. I've not finished tidying.
And I walk up to Alyssa and I just give her the biggest hug.
I join in the hug. I do the awkward third wheel hug and join him.
I kick him in the shin.
Okay, this is... this is...
That was unnecessary. I just thought it was a moment of tenderness for the 3 of us to bond as best friends. Like the Trinity. Oh, we get a Trinity. What is it?
You always said that you wanted to build a cabin in the woods somewhere snowy.
Yep. And I did.
Well done. It's an achievement.
It is. It is an achievement.
I could probably not even make a box.
Give me a second whilst I douse the fire. I don't think your friend will appreciate the fire.
Oh, as long as it's a small one. If it's a big one, I don't like big ones.
Actually, it's not too big. It has been burning for some hours. It should be alright for now, I guess.
But don't worry, I can't come in yet. I need to find a gift. Kai, I'll be right back. I'll get us both a gift.
Okay, you go get a gift, I guess.
Careful out there.
Right, if I was a gift, where would I be? Time to find some shiny stones.
I walk into the cabin and shut the door behind me.
Can I get you something to eat or maybe a drink?
I don't know what you've got.
I've still got some stew left on the hearth if you want some.
Some stew? Yeah, I'd love some stew.
Okay. It's not the greatest amount of stew, but it's better than nothing. Lots of potato, lots of carrot. Things you can grow out here. I think there might be a little bit of meat left in it.
It's filling. It's very simple. There's no spice or anything else to it. But to be honest with you, you have eaten a lot worse in the past few years.
Afraid all I've got on the drink side is purified water.
No, because it actually is love. The label's on the outside. Look to your side.
Water will do fine.
And I put a cup of water down. Cup's made out of wood. Everything in here is made out of wood. Wood, furs and leather.
Quaint. I'll take a sip.
Yeah, well, I had to make everything
It's
from what I could find in the area. So.
water.
So,
What is that?
what?
Hmm?
What?
Pourquoi?
So I just thought I could hear something.
Probably Phil. Oh, Phil's microphone.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, you basically have a drink of water, a very basic starting to a meal.
Oh, it's been so long since I've eaten.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's a lot of good food out there.
No, especially when you don't stop.
So you really haven't stopped all this time, huh?
No. Why would I stop? I didn't know where you went.
I kind of hoped maybe you would just move on, forget about me.
How? How could I possibly do that?
I mean, I did.
You're the only damn thing I have left, Alyssa.
Yeah, and I was the only damn thing that could probably have killed you.
But why would I want to be alive?
I mean, you might have preferred to have me and then be dead, but I didn't prefer to have you and you be dead. I preferred you to not have me and be alive somewhere, living your life.
I don't want a new life. I've never wanted a new life, not from the second that I was born into this body.
You could have, though. Really. You were given a second chance, and it
And I
looks to
didn't
me like
want
you're
it.
just chasing chasing the past again.
What do you want me to say?
Well, you're here now.
I am. Are you going to stay here? Are we going to stay here?
Well,
What do you want?
I just wanted to forget. I just didn't want to remember everything that had happened. I didn't want any connections to the past. I didn't want to be reminded daily of what we caused.
Maybe that's easier for you. Maybe it's easier when you don't see someone's face every time you go to sleep.
You get this weird guilty feeling at the back of your head, Alyssa. It's not really guilty. It's just sort of a, well, actually,
Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you could forget. I can't forget. I didn't even know what had happened.
Well, I thought that was for the best. Thought it would be better if you didn't know what had happened to me.
Why would that ever be the case?
Because in some sick and twisted way, regardless of whether or not I was still alive, if I had died, I would have come back eventually, wouldn't I?
I guess. But then I'd still have to find you. I didn't know if you died. All I knew is that I had to find you.
I guess we really can't break a cycle, can we?
No. one of us is always going to be looking for the other. It's been it's how it's been since we've met.
About this point in time, you've managed to find a sufficient amount of shiny rocks there, Phil.
Oh no, I've got a better idea now.
Oh, God.
I have a better gift.
Oh no.
Go on.
So basically, I've ripped some of my sleeve off my suit and using a stone and some twigs, I've made a little cat statue.
I
It probably looks
okay.
terrible.
Yeah.
but-
Fair.
It looks terrible, but the thought is definitely there.
Okay, so you've managed to construct out of bits of random gubbins and detritus a small cat,
Mm-hmm.
which you then have started reapproaching the house for.
And I will knock at the door like a good guest.
As you go to knock at the door, you see just slightly off to one side a shape moving.
Oh. Hello. I shall stare at this
You
shape,
hear the sniffing sound of an animal.
and I've gone quiet.
Padding out from around the side is a what looks like lupine form
Oh,
shrouded in shadow. Just seems to be looking at you with this pair of golden eyes.
oh, hi. Are you a friend of Kai as well? They're a bit busy at the moment, so if we could just give them some private time, and then, well, yeah, pretty much, and then everything will be fine. Yes. In fact, they've had some private time for a while, so maybe we should just knock on the door. 1 second, I'll knock on the door.
As you go to do that, it starts to move into a position where it's getting ready to pounce.
Oh. Give them a bit. Probably a good idea. You might know them better than I do. Well,
It's not because you get the impression it's not of you knocking on the door, it's because you're there.
oh, Kai, Kai.
Yes?
There's an unfriendly shadow lupine monster outside.
Alyssa, do you know anything about that?
Would I know anything about that?
You would know nothing specifically about that. No.
I think he's going to jump on me and rip my head off. I don't like this.
There shouldn't be anyone else here unless you guys brought someone with you.
I sigh and I put my hands on the table and I lift myself up and move towards the door. One hand next to my belt.
Okay. By the time the door opens, this thing has pounced.
Oh no!
In a blur of what looks like uncharacteristically orange fur for this area. The wolf comes crashing into Joseph. I would like you to make me a dex and athletics check, please, to
Oh,
try
wow.
and dodge.
This is when we see just how unfighty I am. Eh.
0 successes. The wolf crashes into your chest and just starts snapping at you. Does not actually biting, just sort of barking and like snapping in your face. It's particularly large. You would say larger than your average wolf by a decent margin, with sort of dark reddish orangey fur.
Don't eat me! Don't eat me! Don't eat me! I'm bad for you.
I pull out a shimmering gun from my belt and it clicks. Get off of him.
The wolf, without missing a beat, stands to its hind legs and with one front leg that's slowly shifting into a hand, palms across the side of your gun. Roll me, if you're intending to shoot, roll to hit, but take 2 dice off. If you're not intending to shoot, roll me a athletics and dex check to get out the way.
Yeah, I wasn't intending to shoot. and especially if it's changing now. Hold on, 7. Doodly-doodly-doodly.
Just as a reaction, AJ, as soon as he looks away from me, cloak of shadows.
So he looks away for you. What? Sorry,
Cloak of shadows.
I
5
understand.
successes.
You manage to spin and just basically turn all the way around Malachi without barely with him making any contact. As you roll around and are basically pointing the gun straight at him, you are now staring down a very familiar wolf-like form.
Oh wow!
It's Caleb. He's my boy.
I don't think he's your boy right now.
No, that was out of character.
He's looking at Malachi, completely unrecognizing.
If I can see
'Cause
this, I'm
he's
gonna stand in front and go and shout, "Caleb, wait, it's fine, Caleb."
As you claw up and then just looks down at you, head tilts ever so slightly to the side, looking over his shoulder, squatting in his head, and he just pulls that sword up your slipper's face.
Yeah, we didn't get any of that. That was all cut out because you roboted
Yep.
like mad.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was just me.
Nope.
Okay. Right, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to re-attempt to connect. I will disconnect and reconnect. Okay.
Try again.
Can you hear me properly now?
Yes.
Outstanding. So basically, he looks down at Alyssa, looks at Malachi, looks over his shoulder at Joseph, claw still raised up. You can literally see 2 + 2 adding in his head before he just lowers his hand and gives you the look of a dog that's just eating your slippers.
It's all right, Caleb. You wouldn't recognize him.
Hey, Caleb. Long time no see.
His head just raises up a little to look at Malachi.
Poncy Prince.
Don't know you.
Poncy Prince, Caleb. Poncy Prince.
The
Yeah.
ears go up, his eyes go a little wider, his head tilts for looking down at Alyssa and pointing. He then turns to look at Malachi and just... It's hard to describe, but he just kind of like shifts his body a bit to like make this weird sort of poncing around motion before shrugging.
Really, Caleb?
Explain.
I had a different body the last time I saw you.
Yeah, he died and he got reincarnated into this one. He's also an Exalted.
Yep.
The second you say the E word, he kind of lowers a little, starting to slowly shift back. He only goes as far as the half war form. He looks over at Alyssa and goes, "Don't suppose you've got a towel?"
Come on in.
I dropped Cloak of Shadows. Kai, you died? When did you die? Are you okay? Please tell me you got better.
Well, I technically died twice.
Wait, what? Oh no.
Caleb
One time
just
was in
stalks
1999.
around this, just looking back, glances at Alyssa. Died twice.
Yeah, technically he died twice, if we count his death into Embrace.
He just raises a hand up like he doesn't need to hear much more.
Yeah.
Something to cover the...
I have plenty of furs and levers. I'm sure I can whip you up something very quickly.
Now, the most important question is, did Caleb break my present?
No.
Oh,
You literally went, as when he dropped you, you went into full Guardian mode over it.
Alyssa, I have brought a present for your hospitality. Here you go.
Is that a cat?
Yes, it's you, but in artistic impression of more modern art, deeply personal, transitional, more basic version of you. Hope you like it.
It looks like something a preschooler has made, but at the same time, the sentiment is very much there.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
It's,
I think my best friend really likes you.
Okay. Anyway, give me a second. I need to try and sort something out for Caleb. At least, he flashes us all.
Oh, that would be dreadful.
Just, Caleb, stand behind that
He's
screen.
already taking pelts off the side and wrapping them around himself. Eventually, you end up with that.
Yeah.
You
So
attack-
it seems like everyone is just invading my private space today.
Oh, if we're evading, we can leave. I mean, I brought a gift, and I didn't try to.
It doesn't really doesn't matter at this point.
It does. It does. If you think we're invading and in your sanctified
Really?
sacred spot,
Really doesn't matter. Caleb, how on earth did you get across to here? Last we saw you was, well, after we rescued this one from... Oh god, that was such a long time ago.
Well, I left some time back to go and recheck some cairns specifically to the totem spirits, and after a couple of particularly weird encounters with some additional kindred, I've ended up here. The main reason being Stag told me this was where I needed to be. I've been here for years, not been questioning it. I got the first scent of you about a couple of months back. I don't know whether you were hunting or what was going on, but I managed to pick up your scent then and decided that, you know what, might be best to leave you be if you're just there on your own. Then these thought you might need some backup.
oh, I'm not a fighter. I like books.
No offense, buddy, but I can tell.
No
yeah,
offense
you probably
taken.
figured that out.
So wait, Caleb, you've been here for years, did you say?
Yeah,
And you've
I got
known,
sent here by Stag.
and you've known that I've been here for months.
I've been in the area for years. Weirdly, I've not been specifically around this portion of time for at least a few months.
Who is Stag?
And,
My totem spirit.
Oh,
wait, I thought your totem spirit was lying.
Has it really been that long? There are multiple totem spirits, and more specifically, multiple that you would have the ability to follow as well as me. Lion just adopted you. Lion's one of mine.
Right. Sorry, I didn't exactly get a full education on totem spirits. I remember I was kind of just dropped in the middle of it.
I know. Your spirit's not a lion. Your spirit's shadow and darkness.
You hear in the back of your mind, yeah, well, it's got you there.
Shut up, Arlo. Gosh.
Everyone hears that.
Who's Arlo?
Don't
Don't what?
say that word.
It's fine.
Oh, okay.
No, Kai. It's... 4 years on your own and only having this in your head. Surprisingly, you come to an understanding.
I know that pain.
I don't, says Caleb.
Nope.
You don't want it, unless you want to see it. But you probably won't want to see it, so I don't think you should see it.
Though to be fair, I know what you've got in your head.
You literally just see this sort of, in your little mental space, Alyssa, this hand just appears and starts waving frantically before disappearing.
Do you know what he's like? Right now, he's like a child who's trying to impress a bunch of people. That's what I'm getting in my head. This is
He
all
didn't
your
like-
fault.
He didn't like it when I was in your head.
No, I'm not surprised. I don't in particular like it when people are in my head either.
I wasn't really in your head. I was just in your outer senses head. So kind of like on the outskirts, not in the garden yet. So I wasn't really being rude.
Yes.
You hear whispered through your mind. He was lurking in your hedges, and I kicked him out.
I know. Thank you. Thank you for kicking him out.
So here's an idea. Me and Caleb could go for a walk, and you two can catch up and canoodle.
Did you
Not
just
gonna
seriously use the word canoodle?
I thought it was more romantic than other words that might be used right now.
I don't think the word canoodle has ever been.
I
I
also
thought it
don't
was-
think my tiny homemade bed would actually stand it, so definitely not.
Well, I hear that sometimes people do it on tables and maybe the floor and against things.
Caleb just walks up, puts one hand over Joseph's mouth, and starts walking out. We're leaving now. Goodbye.
Thank you, Caleb.
I give Kai the thumbs up as he drags me off, like, hey!
No, please don't leave.
The door then closes.
You can do it.
I'm sorry about
Caleb
that
just
one.
gives Joseph a moment's worth of look and just starts wagging a finger. Look, if that's who I think it is, canoodling is not the word.
Then what would be the most appropriate word?
There are no appropriate words. That's the point.
There's always
leave him to it.
appropriate words.
Where is it you come from, anyway? I've not spotted
Uh,
any kindred in years.
I don't know if I should tell you because you attacked me and I don't want you attacking the people I know.
If I was attacking you, you'd stay attacked.
I'm very not dead, and I'm good at being not dead because I avoid the fighting. My friend's very good at fighting. My friend would totally kick your ass.
You see this wolfish grin just appear over his lips. My boy, he pats you on the shoulder. Let's go to your place. Starts walking off at the prospect of a fight.
No, you're not fighting, my friend.
Both Joseph and Caleb leave the scene.
No vampire beats Caleb. There's one that got close.
Close, but no cigar.
So,
So, you are left alone in the scene again. Well, as alone as you can be with Arlo stuck in your head.
Yeah.
could you at least? I know you say it's for my own good, but why?
Because back then I didn't know how I would act or react with Arlo being in my head. I didn't want what happened to... I didn't want what happened to Elizabeth to happen to you.
Now, in my defense, says Arlo,
Shut up, Arlo. You are not part of this conversation. Git.
I wasn't even part of that fight when that happened. I wasn't the one who fed you mind altering drugs. I just laughed about it.
Shut up. Leave.
All this time, because I'm not
That's
hearing
fine.
this, I just bow my head and I walk towards Alyssa, and again I give her a big hug. I know. You never forget things like that.
Yeah. Which is why I came out here, because I thought maybe if I wasn't surrounded by people, or, you know, with you, where I could be reminded daily of what had happened, what could happen, thought it might be better.
Do you want me to leave you alone? Because if you do, I will. I'm not going to be this weirdo that keeps following you everywhere.
Yeah, that would be believable if it wasn't for our pasts.
Yeah, but the difference is I'd do it if you told me to
I know. And
and meant it.
yeah, part of me still terrified that I could hurt you. But at the same time, I have really, really missed having you around.
You think you've missed me? And I squeeze her tighter. I'm going to give her a kiss.
Unless anything goes out of the way to stop that.
Damn it, Joseph! You know, that's probably the best second kiss I've had in my life.
Isn't that...
Technically, this is my first kiss off this version of you. We didn't exactly have time, you know, when we were fleeing before.
No.
And we didn't exactly get
no,
time when you were Arlo either, so...
No, and I regretted that so much.
Gotta say, better than the first one.
Really, no.
Well, I mean, anything's probably better than an alley covered in blood coming off a
I
frenzy.
mean, we're actually in your cabin in the woods.
My little dream cabin in the woods. I suppose now, technically, the dream's almost there.
Almost.
Well, I'd kind of preferred it if the world wasn't, you know, a shithole like it is right now.
Yeah. Things are pretty fucked.
Yeah, but it's pretty peaceful up here, so...
It is. You know what? Part of me just wants to stay here. Just forget about the rest of it.
I mean, there's nothing stopping you. If you want to stay here with me, I won't stop you.
Yeah.
I won't make you go.
But you don't know what I know. You haven't heard what I've heard.
I probably can imagine, but what you know, what you've heard, is probably 10 times worse than what I can imagine.
Yeah. And I can't let that go on. I regretted you leaving, but not as much as I'd regret not doing something about this. Because it's monstrous.
Yeah, I guess I should probably fix this mess, shouldn't I? After all, that's what I do best. Make the mess and then fix it. Normally by making another mess, but maybe this time I won't. Maybe this time I'll fix it for good.
Alyssa? No more messes. And I chuckle.
I can certainly try not to make another mess. I will try my damned hardest. But how about just for now, perhaps maybe just for the night, we forget about the outside world.
Yeah. I agree. We've got you. We've got me.
And
Got this
at least
place we
4
always wanted
years.
to be.
4 years worth of catching up to do. 4 years worth of, well, maybe longer than 4 years worth of,
Yeah.
yeah. Come on, we can test how good of a carpenter I am.
Well,
You lied to me.
Damn right I lied to you. Enjoy the show, dickwad.
well,
Who says I won't?
let's see how sturdy that wood is.
And with that, I'm going to call a 15-minute break.